On Christmas Eve, 1851, while families across Virginia gathered around candlelight and hymns, one plantation house became an inferno. Inside, a master and his two sons screamed as flames devoured them. And at the heart of it all was Sarah, the enslaved woman who lit the fire. Virginia, 1851. The land of plantations, tobacco, and slavery. For the wealthy planter class, Christmas was a season of abundance. Feasts filled the tables, carols filled the halls, and masters congratulated themselves on their prosperity. But for the enslaved, Christmas was no season of joy. It was another day of servitude, another night of fear. The gifts and hymns of their owners stood in cruel contrast to the hunger, exhaustion, and violence they endured. Sarah lived in this world. She worked in the household of a Virginia planter, serving a man who believed cruelty was his right. His two sons, raised in their father's image, treated Sarah and the others not as people but as objects. Sarah's body, her labor, her dignity, none belonged to her. To the outside world, her master was a respectable man of property. To Sarah, he was a tyrant. His hands left scars, his voice left wounds, and his power left her with nothing but rage. And as Christmas approached, while her master prepared for celebration, Sarah prepared for fire. Sarah's daily life was bound by chains, though not always visible ones. She rose before dawn, her breath clouding in the cold Virginia air, and worked until exhaustion bent her frame. She cooked meals she would never eat, polished furniture she would never own, and endured insults that carved deeper than any blade. Her master beat her often. His sons mocked her. At times, they treated her body as theirs to command. Sarah lived in a world where every moment was a humiliation, where her humanity was denied at every turn. But even in silence, Sarah was watching. She was thinking. She was waiting. Christmas Eve approached. The big house was decorated, candles placed in every window, greenery hung from mantels. The master and his sons prepared for a feast, their laughter echoing down the halls. To them, it was a night of joy. To Sarah, it was a night that mocked her suffering. Imagine the contradiction. Hymns of peace on earth rising from the lips of those who whipped her. Tables overflowing with food while she and others went hungry. The sound of church bells calling freedom and salvation while she remained enslaved. Something in her had reached its breaking point. Perhaps it was a fresh blow, perhaps an assault, perhaps the sight of her master's sons sneering as they drank in boat. Whatever the spark, Sarah's anger ignited into something deadly. She began to plan. The house, filled with wood and oil lamps, was a tinderbox. The cold winter night made the fires burn hotter in the hearth. Sarah, working in the kitchen, knew every corner of that house, every weak point, every doorway. She knew where the flames would spread fast. On that Christmas Eve, as her master and his sons celebrated, Sarah took her chance. The night was silent outside. Snow drifted across the Virginia fields. Inside the great house, the fire in the hearth crackled. The master's voice boomed, and the sons laughed as they drank their fill. Sarah slipped away. Perhaps with a candle, perhaps with a coal from the fire. She set her plan into motion. She touched flame to cloth, to wood, to kindling prepared in secret. At first, only a faint smoke rose. Then the sparks leaped, the fire caught, and the house began to burn. The crackle of wood turned to a roar. Flames climbed the walls, raced along beams, devoured curtains and furniture. The Christmas greenery turned to black ash. The master and his sons awoke to fire. They shouted, stumbled, tried to flee. But the doors were blocked by walls of flame. Their fine silks and coats did nothing against the searing heat. They pounded on windows, screamed for help, begged for mercy. Sarah listened as the inferno consumed them. The same halls where she had been beaten now echoed with their cries. The same house where she had been humiliated now became their tomb. Outside, the enslaved watched in silence. The sky glowed orange, sparks rising into the cold night air. To some, it was terror. To others, it was justice. The master and his sons burned alive in the fire Sarah had set. On Christmas Eve, the night of supposed peace, the house became a pyre of vengeance. By morning, the plantation house was a smoldering ruin. Ash coated the ground, the air stank of smoke and death, and the once proud planter family lay in charred remains. What happened to Sarah after that night is blurred by history. Some accounts suggest she was seized quickly, dragged before authorities, and executed for her crime. Others say her name lingered in whispers, but her fate was never officially recorded. In 1851 Virginia, a slave who killed her master had little chance of survival. But her act lived on. Among white planters, it became a story of fear. They told each other of Sarah to remind themselves of the danger sleeping under their own roofs. To them, she was a warning that even the most loyal servant could strike back and fire. Among the enslaved, the story became something else. A tale of defiance, told in hushed voices around fires, passed from cabin to cabin. Sarah had done what others only dreamed. She had taken the night of her master's joy and turned it into his destruction. The legend of Sarah of Virginia became part of the hidden folklore of slavery, a reminder that the enslaved were not silent victims, but their weapons were sometimes songs, sometimes escapes, sometimes quiet sabotage, and sometimes fire. This was Sarah's story, a woman enslaved in Virginia who, on Christmas Eve of 1851, set fire to her master's house and burned him and his sons alive. Her name is nearly forgotten, her fate erased, but her act endures as a haunting reminder of resistance in the darkest of times. And she was not alone. For every Sarah, there are countless others whose stories remain hidden, rebellions buried, voices silenced. But together, they tell us one truth. The enslaved fought back. Always. If you want more hidden stories like this, check out our full playlist here. And don't forget to subscribe. These voices deserve to be remembered.